Good evening everyone, and welcome to a very packed Gundam news, courtesy of all of the figure news that we got this week, and a lot of those came from Megahobby Expo 2023, where we didn't just get the most announcements, but also the best announcements, at least in my opinion. So let's get right into it with the Universal Century figures. First up, 0080's Christina Announced will be joining the Gundam Girls Generation lineup, but that is all that we know so far, which is absolutely not the case with Char, Aznable's latest and greatest figure. Now, the price and the release date are still to be determined, but based on the prototype and the fact that he's part of the Gundam Guys Generation Deluxe line, I think you'd better start saving up if you want this masterpiece. Now, I've often said about figures and Gunpla that they're like the flagship. Well, if you buy them, they can be the flagship of your collection. This thing? I mean, this is really the case here. If you're a Char fan, this is without a doubt gonna be one of the most amazing things in your collection. After all, there is nothing quite like a rearing horse statue to really symbolize power. Then, to go along with your Gunplas, they announced the next machine-built figure, the Skiure. Just as with the Char figure, we don't know the price or the release date yet, but we do have the prototype, which is being showcased with the new high-grade Zaku 2. Well, not new, like the newest one. And the only other thing I can say about this is, I called it. Not the most difficult thing to call, but hey, it was basically like the obvious choice. After the Burstliner, it just had to be the Skiure, because the Burstliner and the Skiure are basically like the Earth Federation and the Zeon version of the same thing. So the real question is, what is going to be next, if there's going to be a next thing? Personally, I would love to see some more like obscure sub-flight systems like the Ghouls from Gundam Seed. And then the last Universal Century thing was an expensive return to the Cosmo fleet line. And at first, I couldn't really wrap my head around what was happening, because we had the Argama RE, the Rokai Loom RE, and the Nail Argama RE being advertised as new releases, and on top of that, they are gonna go for 9,350 yen a pop, which is like 60-70 US, making them twice as expensive as the original versions that were released like 2015, about, if I remember correctly. But they seem to be identical, or so I thought. Because there are two differences. They are now weathered straight out of the box, and they also come with water slide decals. Quite the markup, but so be it. All of them will be hitting regular retailers, so I will have them all linked down below, with the Raw Kailoom sailing in December, the Argama in January, and the Nail Argama in March. And after the UC onslaught, we go to the alternate universes, where we of course mostly get Witch from Mercury stuff with a small sprinkling of Gundam Seed. And after getting the unpainted prototype, we now got the painted prototype of the Gundam Girls Generation Suletta. And she is looking fantastic. She's as adorable as ever, and her pose also has like that nice feeling of weightlessness. Also, last time when we got the unpainted figure, I couldn't quite put my finger on what the base was supposed to be, but as some of you did point out in the comments, It turns out that it is the Ariel's chest, and specifically the Ariel's chest, which seems to be going permit score 6. What we don't know then is when she'll be releasing and how much she'll be going for. And it wasn't the only Suletta figure we got at the expo, because she's also joining the new Tenohira lineup, which features main characters of which are Mercury sitting down or lying down. And part of the lineup so far are a depressed Suletta, who did get a painted prototype, Mirine, Guel, Elan, who I think is number 5 because he looks rather happy and is smiling, Shadiq, Choo-Choo, and Nika. Personally, I'm not super sold on the Suletta figure, especially not compared with the Gundam Girls' Generation figure, but the rest of the gang is already looking really good even in their unpainted state. So the only thing that worries me now is the price, which as of now is undetermined. And the same also goes for their release date. We know they're all going to be releasing sometime in 2024, but that's it. Also, I wonder if this is going to be like the entire lineup, or if we're going to get more announcements later on, because personally, I wouldn't mind Elan number 4, Cecilia, Sophie, or Felsi to also become part of this lineup. And talking about continuing lines, the Nyandam line got 5 new additions that will be releasing sometime in 2024 for an as of yet undetermined price. Suletta and Mirine, who got painted prototypes, and Kira, Lacus, and Athron, who only got announced through a paper cutout of their design. And while this was all for Megahobby, it was far from everything on the figure front. From the FW Gundam Converge core line, we are getting the Premium Bandai Limited White Wolf of Solomon set, featuring all of the mobile suits that Shin Matsunaga allegedly piloted. For 5,995 yen, 41 US, you're getting the Zaku 2 R1A, a customized Zaku 2 R1A, a Zaku 2 FS, a Gelgook Jaeger, a Rigdom, and a piece of soda-flavored chewing gum. And all of them will come flying your way in February. Which is also when the 2 new Robot Spirits figures will be launching. The MS-05A Zaku 1 early production version Anime, and the Side MS Anchor Gundam. Both of which are Premium Bandai, because fuck you. Also, to be specific, I'm fairly certain it's only 1 new figure and 1 remold, because the Zaku 1 doesn't mention being a recolor of the standard version, but it also doesn't mention anything about new parts, and as far as I can see, it is mostly the same. It goes for 7,700 yen, 53 US, and in addition to the very shiny and sparkly color scheme, you're now also getting 2 leg-mounted missile launchers with removable missiles and 2 missile launching effects, and also the assurance that it will work with the Xeon weapon set. What is completely new then is the Anchor Gundam, which, as the name indicates, comes with a giant anchor. The Ikarimaru, which can generate an equally giant beam blade. But fortunately, for the 12,100 yen, or 83 US, that this thing will set you back, it also comes with some more accessories. A replaceable handle for the anchor, a wire that can be attached to the anchor shield, which can be folded up. There are pile bunkers for the feet, with cartridge ejection effect for the knee. The anchor-esque V-fin can be swapped out for the heat dissipation mode version, and it also comes with its other signature weapon, the Axe Gun. And as the name indicates, it can serve as a gun, with a belt with extra bullets, it can serve as an axe, and it can also serve as a beam saber for 12 seconds. What we know less about then is the Robot Spirit's KA signature prototype double Zeta Gundam. We got to see this picture, which includes the machine in both mobile suit and mobile armor mode, but that is it so far. The rest of the details will be coming soon. And just today then, the Mobile Suit Ensemble X47 Gundam Calibarn Deluxe version went up for pre-order on Japanese Premium Bandai. For a whopping 5,500 yen, which is around 40 US, you're getting the Calibarn itself with the Gund Arm system active and also molded in a special pearl white color. Then there's the variable rod rifle, a shield that can be split into the different gun bits, and an action base with enough connectors for the Calibarn itself and all of the gun bits. And still figure related, there's also some good news for the people living in and around New York. On September the 8th, the third flagship store of Tamashii Nations will be opening up in Times Square, and it will be appropriately named the Tamashii Nations Store, New York. Just like Sony and the PlayStation, not the most creative name, but it is very simple and straightforward. And of course, they will be selling a lot more than just Gundam at this store. And that is finally it for the figures. So yeah, comparatively speaking, the Gunpla news does feel even more empty than usual. It's not nothing, but it's nothing crazy either, with the most exciting thing coming from the Witch from Mercury Vanitas Heart manga. Because this week, we got all of the details and the line art for the new Gundam. The Gundam Lfrith Anavata. Like, also continuing the weird mismatch between the Japanese spelling and pronunciation and the Western, spelling and pronunciation. Because in Japanese, it's the Rubris Anocta. But then again, Vincent in English and Vincent in French aren't exactly similar either, so whatever. Remember when people said that the Ariel looked like it belonged in the Iron-Blooded Orphans universe? Well, this thing looks like it really got straight up isekai'd from the Iron-Blooded Orphans universe into the Witch from Mercury universe. So yeah, just like the Lfrith Jew, it's an Earth-made Gundam, but unlike the Jew, it is made for actual combat. And for weapons, it carries the Narakami gun bits, which are 2 lightning blades that can be stored in the shield. And since I'm talking about it in the Gunpla section, as you've probably guessed, we are getting a Gunpla of this thing. No details are known as of yet, but Gundam Ace did say that more details will be given in next month's Gundam Ace issue, so soon we'll see what the Gunpla of this totally not Iron-Blooded Orphans Gundam looks like. Next up then, we got the announcement of the Master Grade Gundam Epyon Endless Waltz version Sturm und Drang equipment type. A remold of the previously released standard Master Grade Epyon Endless Waltz version, which is of course now a Premium Bandai Limited. Pre-orders on Japanese P-Bandai went live on the 28th and can be yours in December for 7,480 yen, 51 US. And for this price tag, we are getting a new slide of waterslide decals and extra parts that can be hooked up to the arms for the fencer mode or to the beam saber for Zweihänder mode, which also comes with a supercharged beam effect part. And alongside of it, Gundam Decal DX8 also went up for pre-order for 1,650 yen, 11 US, and as far as I can tell, it is also Premium Bandai Limited. They contain decals for the Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, the Glory of Losers kits, and they are non-scale, but recommended for 1/100 scale kits. That being said, the decals are available in a variety of sizes, so I'm sure you can use the smaller Oz and Roma Filler Foundation ones for the high-grade Leo. Next up then, the high-grade Hobby Hizack Advance of Zeta Reboot version went up for pre-order on Japanese P-Bandai, meaning that it is no longer limited to Gundam Side F, and might also be coming soon to like overseas premium Bandai. And then finally from Ichiban Kuji, we got all of the details for the 2023 Ichiban Kuji Gunpla lottery. Sales will start on September the 22nd, one ticket costs 790 yen, 5 US, and the prizes are as follows. The A rank or first prize is the Master Grade Freedom Gundam version 2.0 solid clear version. The B rank or second prize is the Master Grade Lfrith Gundam version remaster solid clear version. The C rank is the high grade Ariel solid clear. The D rank is the high grade Lfrith solid clear. The E prize is the high grade Lfrith Gundam solid clear. The F prize is the high grade Build Burning Gundam, solid clear. The G prize is the high grade 00 Diver, solid clear. The H is the G3 version of Gunpla Kun, not solid clear, and I'm assuming still made out of that special Limex material. The I prize then is a random tumbler with 8 possible designs, being the RX-78-2, Zaku 2, New Gundam Unicorn Gundam, Zeta Gundam, Freedom Gundam, Gundam Exia, and Strike Freedom Gundam. The J prize is a random acrylic stand with 23 possible designs, all of which being Gunpla box arts. And the K prize is your choice of 1 of 10 visual boards, and again, all of which feature Gunpla box art. And if you get the last ticket, you will also win a Master Grade Lfrith Gundam version remaster, solid clear, another. Which is basically like the reverse of the standard solid clear. So with the standard solid clear kits, the white isn't clear, which I think looks really great because typically the white is always the weakest clear color, in my opinion. But then with the another version, it is only the white that is clear. So for me, that's like taking all of the worst parts and putting it in the model. But if you get both versions, you could also make a completely clear Lfrith Gundam, with the exception of the inner frame and the other gray parts, and a standard Lfrith Gundam, should you want to. Meanwhile, on the gaming front then, in Gundam Battle Operation 2 for the PlayStation, the Wound Ward joins the fun. In Gundam Battle Operation 2 for Steam, the new Gundam joins the fun through the Federation's White Devil's Trail campaign, which also has a step-up campaign for the RX-93FF new Gundam. In UC Engage, the ultra-rare Totus Ritter and Chloe Croce have become available as an extremely limited gacha. And they also added another beautifully animated cutscene to the game of Amuro versus Shalia Bull with some added love for the gun cannons. In Gundam Evolution then, the 6th and final season began, which adds the Zeta Gundam to the roster, as well as a bunch of cosmetics. And then after quite some silence, we finally got some news on SD Gundam G Generation Eternal. You'll be able to play a trial version of the game at the Tokyo Game Show on September 23rd and 24th. But there is a little caveat here. You might have seen that there is an option to pre-register to skip the waiting line, but that is unfortunately limited to people living in Japan. So if you're going, you will just have to wait in line for it. And if you're not in Japan, you won't have to worry because they also announced that they will soon start a second closed beta test. Now, so far, no details on the date or how to sign up are available, but considering they finally broke silence after so long, I don't expect it's going to be a long time, so stay on the lookout for that. I'll also have like their Twitter account linked down below if you really want to stay up to date with it. And in other news, a new Bandai Gashapon store opened up in the Tsutaya at Yokoetsu Bypass in Niigata. The remastered versions of the Gundam Seed special editions were back in Japanese cinemas. On September the 24th, Gundam returns to Toyota City for the 2023 Haro Carbon Neutral project, and this time mechanical designer and manga artist Kazuhisa Kondo will be joining the fun. And this week's Mobile Suit Girl is the rear of the massive Big Zam, showing us that this version has docking bays for 2 Gatl spacecraft. Also, this version of the Big Zam is described as having legs that are about as long as a giraffe and a cockpit the size of a car. As for the things you could get this week then, on the 26th, the Robot Spirits GPO-0 Blossom was released for a grand total of 10,450 yen, 72 US, and comes complete with its giant beam rifle, beam effect part, thruster effect parts, and parts-to-parts format. One day later then, you could get the first volume of Witch from Mercury's second season on Blu-ray and DVD in a variety of sets and with a variety of pre-order bonuses depending on where you got it from. And also on the 27th, the third lineup of the Mobile Suit Mechanical Buzz Gashapon series was released in Gashapon machines across Japan, this time featuring a bust of the Ariel. For 500 yen a spin, $3.50, you can get an armor set in regular colors, an armor set in mechanical clear colors, or a frame set that also has the light up function. So do keep in mind that this means that in order to get a full set, you need at least 1,000 yen, or like not a full set, a full bust. And that is of course in the best case of scenarios, because depending on your luck, you might only get armor sets. I've been there. Then, from the 29th, you could win this LP Puro prize figure from arcades across Japan. She's described as lively and energetic, but that's not really the vibe I'm getting from her face. Her pose is certainly lively and energetic, but her face has a certain, like, melancholy or sadness to it. So, in the context of the anime, they definitely managed to nail the feels here. Or maybe it's because I've seen the anime that I'm interpreting her face that way. But regardless, it is definitely a nice prize figure. And then finally today, the third lineup of line stickers from Witch from Mercury were released, featuring famous lines like Shadik's Alea Yakta Est, Suletta's Itadakimasu, and Cecilia's You're a treacherous little bastard, aren't ya? Or whatever like the official English translation of that line was. For this week's reading material then, there was the 18th issue of Big Comic Superior, in which Gundam Thunderbolt is being serialized, the October issue of Shonen Sunday S, in which Gundam Aggressor is being serialized, the 22nd issue of Gundam Hobby Life, featuring mobile suits piloted by female pilots, like the Kshatriya and the Ariel, the October issue of Gundam Ace, which focuses on the Gundam Seed Freedom movie, and therefore includes the Justice, Freedom, and Destiny Gundam on the cover, in classic Okawara style. We got the Imashi Susumu Mechanical World Art Book for 3,520 yen, 24 US. The works of Mitsuo Iso for Animation Pre-Production Art Book for 4,950 yen, 34 US. The 15th chapter of Gundam Sequel was released online and is linked down below. And we also got a bunch of tankobon volumes this week. Volume 4 and 5 of Mobile War History Gundam Burai, Volume 5 of Gundam F91 Prequel, Volume 11 of Gundam NT, Volume 21 of Gundam Son, Volume 18 of Gundam Aggressor, and Volume 22nd of Gundam Thunderbolt. Moving on to the Gundam apparel then, which as always is linked down below, as well as a guide on how to go about buying it. And on Friday, Strict G kicked things off with a collaboration with Spingle Move to create 3 pairs of leather sneakers. They go for 30,800 yen each, 211 US, and the available designs are the Zeta Gundam, Gundam Mark II Titans colors, and the Hyakushiki. And on the same day, pre-orders opened up for Bankore's newest G Gundam lineup featuring a variety of items with a variety of G Gundam themed texts. For 4,070 yen, 28 US, there is an Undefeated of the East cap. For 4,400 yen, 30 US, there is a Chokyu Hao Den Eidon t-shirt, which is like the move where Master Asia's body turns into a energized whirlwind and his head still remains normal somehow. For 3,520 and 24 US, there's a Sekiha Tenkyoken t-shirt. For 3,960 and 27 US, there's a King of Hearts full color t-shirt. And for 1,738 yen, 12 US, there is a pair of King of Hearts working gloves. You know, in case you want to give your work the shining finger. Then on Monday and Tuesday, we got some Witch from Mercury things. A dialogue acrylic stand of Guel for 2,200 yen, 15 US. A pair of Cool Son and Hot Son hair clips for 1,760 and 12 US. And a collection of super deformed versions of the main cast running. For 770 yen, which was around 6 US, you can get Suletta, Mirine, Nika, Chuchu, Guel, Elan, or Shadiq as an acrylic keychain or an acrylic stand. And for 3,850 yen, which was 28-ish US, you can get them all on a t-shirt. And then finally from Bankore, the Solomon Has Finally Fallen collection went up for pre-order on Wednesday. And you can get that text along with an image of Solomon on a t-shirt for 4,070 yen, 28 US, a pouch for 3,685 yen, 25 US, or a hard shell case for another 3,685 yen or 25 US. And all of these Bankore items are slated for an October release. And then last but not least, today, the Hyakushiki cutter knife from Olfa went up for pre-order on P-Bandai. It might not cut 3 times better than a regular cutter knife because, remember, Quattro is not a Char, but it definitely looks 3 times fancier. It'll set you back 2,475 yen, 17 US, and is slated for a January 2024 release. And that has been all for this very packed Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.